Thank you for joining today's training. Today we're going to be talking about a topic that is very important to organizations, to supervisors and employers, and especially important to employees. We will be discussing 5 guidelines for providing feedback to employees. But first, let's talk about why feedback is so important to organizations and to employers and employees. Number 1, it allows the employee an opportunity to see their job performance from a different perspective. It allows them to take a different seat at the table and view how they do their job differently. Secondly, it provides insight on how the employee's job is important to the organization. Thirdly, it fosters an environment of open communication with the staff, and this is really imperative to organizational success. Lastly, it's crucial in helping the organization reach their goals. The first guideline is to make it a private discussion. Providing feedback in a room full of colleagues can make the employee feel like they are being shamed or punished for their performance. You want to pull the employee to the side or have a private discussion in an office with no spectators and no one else in the office. This will give the employee and the work that you're reviewing the respect that they both deserve. The second guideline is to make the feedback timely. Providing feedback immediately following the performance issue or the situation allows the employee to process why they made a bad choice or made a mistake. It's still fresh in their mind. In order for the learning to be more impactful for the employee, the consequence must immediately follow the infraction or the situation. For example, if a child touches a hot stove, it has more of an impact if they feel the heat of the stove immediately versus if they feel the heat from their hand from touching the stove an hour later. So it's important that this feedback come in a timely fashion. The third guideline is to be factual. Feedback must be credible and backed up with facts. The corrective behavior or actions must be in line with departmental and organizational goals. You have to be able to draw a correlation between the action that they need to have and how it impacts the organization and how it helps the organization reach their goals. And lastly, you want to avoid being wishy-washy. Be clear with your language and be concise. The fourth guideline is to be prepared. Have any necessary policy and procedure documents ready to share with the employee and review with them. If the situation was recorded or documented, have that information ready to share as well. For example, if the employee gave the wrong information over the phone and you work in a customer service center where the phone calls are recorded, it would be really helpful to have that recording so that you could share that with them. You also may want to rehearse having the conversation with a trusted colleague so that you get a little bit of practice under your belt before you have the real talk. Lastly, actively listen and engage the employee. Verify with the employee that they understand what you are explaining to him or her. When the employee shares his or her thoughts on the situation, repeat what you are hearing them say so the employee knows that you are understanding them. It's also a great idea to engage the employee in a discussion on what he or she feels is appropriate in the given situation. And lastly, thank the employee for their time. So to summarize our training today, we discussed 5 guidelines for providing feedback to employees. The first guideline was to have a private discussion. Secondly, make it timely. Thirdly, be factual. Fourth, preparation is key. Be prepared. And lastly, actively listen and engage the employee in a discussion. And now let's reflect a little bit on our own experience in receiving and giving feedback. Have you ever received feedback from a supervisor that was critical to your success today? Perhaps it was a situation where you had an aha moment or it was a big turnaround in your professional life because of a talk a supervisor had with you. What stands out to you today about that discussion? Have you ever had a negative experience while receiving feedback from a supervisor? Perhaps the environment wasn't right for them delivering feedback to you. Perhaps the way that they conveyed themselves or had a discussion with you, it left you not really wanting to improve. What can you do to avoid doing that to one of your employees in the future? What other helpful tips in giving feedback to employees can you share with others from your own experience? Thank you so very much for attending today's very quick and easy training on providing feedback to employees and guidelines, 5 guidelines for giving feedback. Here is our resource page. So if you would like to do some more reading about the benefits of giving feedback to employees, how it can help you as a supervisor, it can help your organization if you're a company leader. The employees can also read this. It's very helpful for everyone. Have a great day, and thank you again for attending.